Question is off limit tonight. Please, by all means, relationships are such a big factor in everybody's life, and try to find a healthy relationship. So tonight, again, we're fortunate enough to have somebody. This is what she does, all the way from Fayetteville, North Carolina. She made her presence known, so I'm certainly appreciative of that. Felicia said, "Hi, Ursula." Hi, Felicia. So, yeah, happy Valentine's Day to you, Felicia. I didn't get any chocolate or anything from you this year, Felicia. What's going on? I don't know what's going on. I didn't receive the package. Tammy, what's up, Tammy? Welcome to another edition of the RASHAD Mills Show, courtesy of PowerPurposeRadio.com. And as I say every Tuesday night, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you decided to join me this evening for the show. So I'm so ever appreciative and grateful for the fact that you decided to spend some quality time with me. So tonight, I'm your bae, I'm your boo, I'm your love thing. I'm that someone special. In actuality, I'm not the reason why you're here. The reason why you're here tonight is my special guest again, somebody who was so serious and dedicated about her craft and relaying information to the people out there. Ursula Martin Miles. Now, you actually came up from Fayetteville, North Carolina.
I did.
Today.
Yes,
just for this show.
Just for this show.
You are my new hero. Yes, flex the guns. I am so unbelievably thankful for you and thankful for your dedication, because tonight, this is one of those areas where you specialize in. You're a certified life coach, love mentor. I actually like that. I like that title that you had. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How are you feeling this evening?
I'm feeling great. Like, it's an honor to be here. Like, out of all people, you found me, a little old country girl from Carden, Texas. You know.
Texas in the house. So Texas in the house by way of Fayetteville, North Carolina. So let's just jump right into it. Obviously, it's Valentine's Day,
Yes.
right? So everybody wants to have love in their life. But prior to actually coming on the show, you made a great point that a lot of people, they want to be in a relationship, they want to be in love, but they don't even love themselves. So just talk about how important is self-love as it relates to having a healthy relationship.
Like I told you, self-love is like a key ingredient. And I like to use the word ingredient because it's like a soup. What you put into that soup is what you eat. You know, so self-love is very important. It's not just about who you see when you look in that mirror. You know, it's about when you take that piece off your head, or you wipe this Smashbox off, or do you still love that person? It's loving all aspects of your life. It's waking up every day to be a better you. You get what I'm saying? It's not just what people see. It's what you see and what you know on the inside. Is what I tell you, setting those boundaries, respecting those boundaries, working on just you all together to be a better wife, better mother, better sister, coworker, just a better you, period.
So talk more about those boundaries. You talk about setting the boundaries and having people respect the boundaries. For the people that are actually watching and the people on Facebook Live and they don't know what those boundaries are, what are you talking about specifically?
Setting boundaries, especially like in a relationship, it's what you're going to tolerate and what you're not going to tolerate, what you're going to put up with and what you're not going to put up with, what it is that you want and what you don't want. And if they're bringing that to the table, that's not what you want, then what are you going to do? Are you going to let it slide? Or are you going to say, this is not what I want? That's like a man pretty much sizes a woman up. You get what I'm saying? He know if he comes home 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, she doesn't say anything. You know what I'm saying? If she doesn't say anything, you know, he going to keep sliding on up in there.
So the likelihood,
yeah.
if she doesn't say anything, the likelihood is pretty high that next week, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, we're going to try to slide in.
He's going to keep doing it.
Okay.
You're going to let him do it 4 or 5 times, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. It's like, why are you going to say something now? You know? So it's just going to create problems. But if you stop it before it gets started, there you go.
Wow. Okay. So we defined self-love and some of those other things that you have to have, the boundaries. What else about loving yourself is going to help you have a healthy relationship?
Healthy relationship. Like I said, it's getting up, making sure that you are in tune with yourself, mentally, physically, emotionally. Even your finances play a role in with your self-love. So once you can connect all of that, then you're able to have a healthy relationship with someone else, because your relationship is not lacking with yourself.
So can you have one of those elements slightly off? You mentioned mentally, physically, financially. Can you have one of those off and still be a productive partner in a relationship? Or do you have to have all of those elements? Does that pie have to be whole in order to be able to effectively love somebody else?
I wouldn't say that the pie has to be whole, but the pie it can't be almost empty. You get what I'm saying? It can't be almost something has to be like mentally. You want to have your mental capacity together before you get in a relationship with someone.
Mm-hmm.
Finances, we all still work on our finances to get them right every single day. And you can still do that in a relationship. Health-wise, that's something you need to work on because you don't want to be a burden to someone else in a relationship.
Valid point. Very valid point.
It all doesn't have to be at 100, but the most important things need to be close to 100 in order for that to be a successful relationship.
Now, you said something. I have to go ahead and open this topic up because I hear this quite a bit. Money in relationships. So from your experience as being a relationship coach, what do you advise people? So if I'm coming to you and I say, Ursula, look, my significant other, she makes, I'm just throwing these figures around, 2 times as much as I do. How can I approach that relationship knowing that she makes more money than me and still maintain a healthy relationship? Because the money in relationships, it's always an issue. It seems like it's always an issue for some reason.
It's how you handle your finances that's the issue.
Mm-hmm.
She may not have an issue making 2 times more than you. But being a man, sometimes men have the issue with the woman making the most money.
So fellas out there, if you hear that, if you're in a relationship right now and your significant other makes more than you, it may not necessarily be her issue. It may be an issue internally within you that you have to check. Okay.
Pretty much.
Okay. So the next one, and I'm throwing them out there for you. Now, it's Valentine's Day. I'm not going to stop. I'm throwing them out there. And we talked about this one prior to actually coming on the show.
Right.
How important or unimportant is sex in a relationship?
Sex should not be number 1 on the list. It is important in a relationship.
Okay.
But it should not trump anything else in that relationship. Like I told you before the show, I've met women who, that's all they're looking for is a man with good sex. He doesn't have to have anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But sex is only going to last that moment that you're doing it. But you're still going to have those bills rolling in. You're still going to have You're still going to have those bills rolling in. You're still going to have all of those other issues. Mm-hmm. That's going to it's going to turn you out from sex eventually. Because then you're going to say, oh, he's not a real man. He can't provide for me. But that's all that you were looking for in the beginning was sex.
Okay.
You wasn't looking for him to provide. Because if you were looking for him to provide, then that's what you would have looked for at the beginning.
So you mean to tell me that you couldn't be in a relationship and sex couldn't be the sustaining factor for that duration of the relationship? And I'm asking for the people out there that are actually watching, because I've heard friends say in the past, well, the physical connection that we have is so good, it can actually trump everything else. The lack of finances that I bring to the table, the lack of consistency, the lack of maturity, and all these other things that somebody may look for because, sex is the only factor that's keeping this relationship going. So could just phenomenal sex or this great physical connection, could that be the factor that makes the relationship survive?
If that's what they're looking for. If that's all you want in your relationship is good sex, then it's going to survive because that's what it is, a sexual relationship. But like I said, all the rest of those problems are still going to remain, the finances and different things like that. What if she gets sick where she can't have sex? Now what?
That's an interesting question.
Now what? So if that's what they're looking for, then that's exactly what you're going to get.
Well, and I'm just kind of going in to some of the Facebook people here actually chiming in with some really good comments here. One of the comments was that a man doesn't need a bigger check. Maybe he just needs to check his attitude. That was good. Felicia, and I'm going to be just quite candid, Felicia. Felicia made a good point. She said a good penis won't keep her. And Tamika said right. So that's very interesting. So some people actually chiming in with their own opinions about it. So break down kind of the different types of love, because a lot of people, they just hear love. Now, we talked about self-love. Break down other types of love that the people need to be informed of, rather.
What we talked about was women looking in the mirror saying, I love me some me. But you love the me that other people see. Mm-hmm. Do you really love you? And then people confuse lust with love. There's no such thing as love at first sight. Mm-hmm. You
don't believe in that?
There's no such thing as love. You don't know that person to say that you
truly
love that person. You're lusting over that person. You like what you see. That's what you love, what you see. But once you get to know that person, they might turn you off by the attitude.
So you don't believe in the theory of love at first sight at all?
No. Because you don't know that person to know that you love them.
Could you have a special feeling about them that could possibly translate to love, and you see it the moment that you see that person, you could say it's something in Ursula that I see that's love at first sight. You don't believe in that at all. That's really interesting.
I don't believe in love at first sight.
So for the people to actually watch and kind of educate them on the difference between that lust and that love, and I know people have probably heard it, definitions for years now, but I still believe that people get that confused because sometimes I think that is that element of lust that people have. It's just that physical attraction, and as you get 3 months down the line, 6 months down the line, he may leave dirty socks around the house, and then you're not willing. He may leave dirty boxes after he takes a shower. He may not shower as often as you like, or whatever the case may be, and they find themselves in a position where they're saying, "I don't love him." But maybe it was never love to begin with. So kind of break down that difference between lust as opposed to love.
Like you pretty much answered that question. That the physical is what you lusting about. But when you get to know that person and those other characteristics of that person, then that's love. Because if you truly love him, then no sock's not gonna bother you. Him leaving water on the floor when he get out the shower, that's not gonna bother you because you absolutely love him. Lust, it goes, it leaves. But love is like, it's amazing. You know when you love somebody.
Wow.
Yeah, you know when you love somebody because it's a balance there. Mm-hmm. You're willing to push yourself to be a little bit better, a person. You're tolerating things that you're kind of tolerating things that you wouldn't normally tolerate. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? Because it puts you in a space where those things don't really matter. You get what I'm saying? So I recently met someone a few months ago, mm-hmm. and it bothered me that he would leave his clothes in the middle of the floor. But he's such a great guy. That trumped that. Like, I go in, I pick those clothes up.
Wow. So because he leaves his boxes after he's been playing basketball and he leaves them in the living room floor, that didn't bother you because you truly loved him?
Well, the person that he is.
Okay.
The person that he is the person that I truly love.
So let me ask you this question, and I'm glad you brought that up. Do you love the person? Is love something that can be defined as I love the person as they are now, or I need to love the person that they will eventually be? Because when you meet somebody in a relationship, we're all under the constant mindset of that we're progressing. But do you fall in love with the person that you see right now, or is it more you want to fall in love with the person that you'll eventually think they'll be?
With most women, mm-hmm. we fall in love with the person that we think he'll be.
Mm.
You like him like this, but once you get with him, you see all those flaws. But one day he'll stop drinking. One day he'll stop hitting you. One day he'll love me a little bit more. And that's what keeps them there because they're loving the man that they think that he'll become.
But is that truly love? I'm going to challenge you. Is that truly love, loving someone for who you think they'll be as opposed to actually accepting that person for who they are at that present moment? Certain things, you can't accept in a relationship, but certain things that you think you can, the dirty clothes, for an example, can you still love that person as they are now, or does it have to be, well, I know in 3 months Michael will pick up those dirty clothes, or Johnny will no longer leave dishes in the sink, or whatever the case may be? Is that truly love?
Well, that's something totally different from him leaving his clothes in the middle of the floor. That's something totally different from what he's doing that's mentally affecting me.
Okay.
And physically affecting me. Those are the things that when you're in a relationship with someone and what they're doing is mentally affecting you and physically affecting you, then you need to take a step back and do a self-assessment or relationship assessment to see, is this right for me? That's when that self-love comes in. Remember I told you earlier that if a lot of women take a step back and do that self-assessment, and start loving themselves like they're supposed to, then they'll know how they're supposed to be treated, mm-hmm. and how others are supposed to be treated, how to treat others and how others are supposed to treat them. So, like I said, those little things like that don't really matter, mm-hmm. but if it's affecting you mentally and physically, then that's...
So when you speak with a lot of your clients, and for an example, for a second, I'll play the role of a client, and I'll say, Ursula, what does a healthy relationship looks like from all aspects? Kind of guide me along what you would tell the client what the healthy relationship looks like.
Healthy relationship is balance. We spoke earlier. Healthy relationship is balance. It's like having that scale.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're constantly pouring water and pouring life into this man, and he's really not giving you anything back, that's unhealthy because the scales are off balance. Mm. You get what I'm saying? And when he leaves, what's going to happen with her? She's going to hit rock bottom.
Wow, okay.
So a healthy relationship, it comes with a little bit of balance. You give, you take. He gives, he takes. But it's still balanced.
So could that relationship be, and I'm asking because I know a lot of people out there that somebody is really concerned about this question. I know somebody out there watching right now is actually in a relationship and they're probably giving a little more. They're probably pouring more into their partner's cup. It's not necessarily balanced. Could that still constitute as a healthy relationship? Because I know that when it's happening. I know that when it's happening.
Yeah, it's definitely happened.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they might look at it like this. Well, she's saying you're pouring too much, and I'm pouring too much in his cup. I'm giving him too much. Now, you cooking every day and him not cooking. That's not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
You know, what I'm saying is, you know, that the attention that comes in, the love, the appreciation. That's what I mean. If you're showing more appreciation than he is, then you need to take a step back and assess the situation, the relationship.
Okay.
So it's more like that you know, that mental and things like that. So it's not, is he can cook today. Oh, he didn't run my bath water today. You know, I ran his
Very
bath
small
water
things
4 times and he hadn't ran mine. Like, that's not what I'm talking about when I say you pouring too much into his cup. You know, you're taking all of you in the inside and pouring in his cup. So.
Now, one of the questions that somebody just, actually not even a question, it was a statement. Felicia said, God must be first. I'm going to throw a spin at you early in the game and ask you, how important is spirituality in relationships? How does that tie into healthy relationships?
It's very important because spirituality brings in that positivity in a relationship. And if you don't have that and you don't know which way you're moving in a relationship with the spirituality, then you really, like, what's holding you up? You get what I'm saying? So it's really important. God should be first in a relationship because I truly believe that it's God, then it's man, then it's woman. You know, because God made man, he made him, and he gave him a job and a responsibility. You get what I'm saying? And so he made that woman as a helper. Not one that's behind him, not one that's in front of him, but one that stands beside him. So spirituality is very, very important because it keeps you in tune with yourself. And if you're in tune with yourself, then that relationship is going to be good.
That's a great answer. Here, I'll come back with this, and just for the sake of it, no pun intended, I actually plays devil's advocate. You're in a really good relationship. The gentleman that you're dating is a really good gentleman, and across the board over the different areas that we talked about, he is making passing grades in all of these areas. But he's not a guy that doesn't necessarily, he's not in tune spiritually or from a religious standpoint. You guys are different. Could you, on a personal level, could you be with a guy that's not in tune spiritually or from a religious standpoint of where you are? And then I guess to say it in terms of a church, unequally yoked. Would that work for you?
Well, spirituality and religion is two totally different things.
Correct.
It's different. If he's a positive person and he is living the life of a godly man, a lot of people, like I said, they don't go to church, but they're still doing right by God. And as long as he's doing that, he may not know he's spiritually connected to something, but he is. He's treating people right, treating people like they're supposed to be treated, and different things like that. And he's, most of all, a positive leader. I can still be with him. So.
Wow, really good. You brought the thunder tonight from North Carolina. You were sharp. You were sharp. So, what is from your experience working with the clients? What seems to be the number one concern or the number one challenge that people have in relationships that seems to break most relationships up? I mean, other than sex and money, what are some other challenges that you hear quite frequently about relationships that's a barrier for them?
I think it's attention would be next. Women, we as women, like, we're naturally like caregivers, and naturally we want that attention.
So you mean to tell me women want attention?
They want that attention. If they get, let me tell you something. If they get with a man and he's a working man, they love that money. But when he can't, today's Valentine's Day. If that man had to work today, he's gonna be in trouble. He's gonna be in trouble. He had better show her some type of attention today. Regardless if he's sending her a $200 bouquet, he's gonna have to do something because we're not. I wouldn't say seek attention like in negative ways. Some women do, some women don't. But we love that attention from a man. We love those good morning texts. But if that's not who he is, then you still have to respect that that's not who he is.
So it's different love languages.
That's right. You have to know your
different love languages.
You can't make him send those text messages, every morning. That's just not who he is. You either love it or leave it. And I'm assuming you wouldn't leave him just because he doesn't say good morning. So you have to kind of And even with that, with recognizing who he is and respecting who he is, he also has to respect who you are, and come to grips with some of the things that you want done as well. And that's where that balance comes in there.
And you know what? I'm glad we kind of shifted towards this. It is so important for everybody watching to really understand your partner's love language. I had the opportunity last year to read the book, The 5 Love Languages. It's been out, and it is just a phenomenal book because I learned a lot about myself in it. I learned a lot about my friend in it because we different love languages. Some people, they equate love to money and gifts. Some people equate love to time. For others, it's affirmation. So it's very important to understand your partner's love language and yours as well, because, again, that goes back to the self-love piece. Again, I think part of that self-love is really doing that assessment on yourself, understanding yourself, then in turn, really doing some time to understand your partner. And this is a great, great book that I'm currently reading right now. It's called Attached, and just how there are different forms of attachment in relationships. So it's very, very important to educate yourself about relationships, because to me, relationships is like anything else.
Right.
The more that you know about it, the more effective you are. So it's unbelievably important to educate yourself with the relationship aspect of it as well.
Right.
So a question for you, from your male clients, how difficult is it for a lot of guys to really open up about their feelings? Because, I mean, I've had friends for years that they just cannot understand the concept that it's okay for men to be emotional and it's okay for men to open up. So how important is that to get, us guys to really open up and talk about things?
You know what? It's hard for men to open up and talk about relationships. It just is. It makes them feel uncomfortable because a lot of men, they don't want to lie. They want to be honest. And it's true. It's the truth. They don't want to lie. They do want to be honest, but at the same time, it's uncomfortable for them to reveal all the things that they did do in the past to a previous, woman or whatever. So it's kind of hard, for them. But a lot of men do understand where they went wrong. A lot of women don't understand where they went wrong in a relationship. They think they were doing everything right, and he still did whatever. But a man understands. Most men will understand what they did wrong in a relationship.
That's interesting because it sounds like it would be the complete opposite of that. So you found out that most men will be willing to admit their mistakes, their shortcomings, their downfalls, but most women won't. So you mean to tell me that women, you guys always think you're right? I never would have thought that in 1,000 years, Ursula, that women are always right in relationships. I never would have thought of that.
It was once told to me that men choose who they want to marry and women choose who they want to sleep with. So most men are out seeking the woman that they want to marry. You get what I'm saying? So they kind of take it slow. But women, they want to push like, hey, I'm almost 30. I got to get married and have some kids. So they're rushing. And they kind of overstep and don't really realize their flaws and where they're going wrong in their relationship. It's like he said he wanted a relationship. I wanted one. So why are we not in a relationship? It doesn't work like that because a man is really actually looking for his wife. A real man is really looking for his wife. And it may not be you. It may not be her, but that's what they're looking for. So they like to take it slow. So they will admit. You
know what? That's incredibly interesting because, again, I thought that would have been a complete opposite of that. I thought more men would have been looking, and just to be honest, fellas, who am I going to sleep with? Just a physical contact, more lust. And women, I would have thought that it comes from the perspective of, I'm really trying to find that mate, that one I'm going to marry. So that's interesting that you mentioned that. I'm just going to check in with some people on Facebook Live. Tamika said, something will always be missing. Yes. You can't braid with only 2 strands. I like that. She said you can't braid with only 2 strands. So something's always going to be missing. She stated God, yourself, and your significant other, just as you stated. So that order has to be there in order for that the relationship to really flow, really have a good flow to it. Because relationships, they need to have a ebb and a flow. And to be honest with you, I'll just say something. My personal belief, and obviously I'm not the expert like you are, I believe that a relationship truly starts after the first argument. I've really, in my heart of heart, believed that. Because after that first argument, you find out, oh, my God, Ursula got mad and she cursed. She kicked me out of her car. She told me never to come back. And you learn so much after that first argument.
That's right. You're definitely right. You really find out who that person is after that first blow up.
And
my advice is it's healthy in a relationship to have some disagreements. You don't want to be with someone who's always agreeing with you. Oh yeah, you're right. This and that, and blah blah blah.
Yeah,
you
baby, you're right. You're right.
You.
Mm-hmm.
You want the challenge. You don't want someone that's going to overpower you, but you want someone who does challenge you to let you know where your failures are and where you're falling short. So you do want that.
Absolutely. So Ursula, we are almost toward the end of the show. 4 or 5 minutes left. So we're at that point in the show where I put my guest out there on the hot seat. It's called Rapid Fire. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You sure? You sure? You were hesitant. Are you positive?
I'm positive.
All right. So as a relationship coach, I want to throw it out there first. My first rapid fire question for you. And with rapid fire question, you give me the first answer that comes to mind. Who is your favorite celebrity couple and why?
My favorite celebrity couple. Oh my goodness. Michelle Obama. Michelle and Barack.
Why?
Man, because that's black love right there.
Oh.
Man, that's black love. I mean, it just is. Now, if had you said not celebrity, it'd been my parents.
Okay, why your parents? I like that.
50 years.
50 years.
First loves. That was it. Everything they did together, they did it for the first time with each other. 4 kids, no outside kids, and as far as we know, they've never cheated on each other. So I've seen the ups and downs in that relationship.
Wow.
50 years.
That's a great answer.
She started dating when she was in the 9th grade. And unfortunately, my father passed away a year ago.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So it'll be a year tomorrow.
Wow.
Yep.
It's a great relationship. Next rapid fire question. One celebrity couple that you would want to just step in right now and intervene and try to help them work on their relationship.
It would probably have to be, oh my gosh, Kanye and Kim.
I knew you were going there.
Kanye and
Why Kanye and Kim?
Mary J. Blige and her husband. Them two. And like, I'm 20.
So you got a few of them.
I've got a few of them.
Why Kanye and Kim? Tell me.
Because she's all over in France, setting some things up to get robbed, and he's back here, he's having a mental breakdown, and I just think it's them clashing with the success, pretty much.
Oh, wow.
The success, pretty much.
Wow, okay. One, then this is interesting, this is Valentine's Day. One celebrity that you would like to marry and why?
I don't think I have one.
You don't have, everybody has one. Everybody has one. And I'm just going to be honest. Nia Long called me yesterday. She was trying to get this date thing set up. And I said, look, Nia, I can't do it tonight. I have an 8 o'clock show. So she said maybe next week we can go out. So mine is Nia Long.
I don't watch TV like that. You know what? It would probably be like Kendall, Homicide Hunters or something like that. the actor, like, I think, man, I love that guy. It would have to be one of those, or the lieutenant on First 48. That's the one that's in Tennessee.
Okay,
So,
gotcha. And
I watch shows like that. I don't watch a lot of celebrity shows.
I knew I threw you off. And in this last question, we're almost at the end of the show. Mary J. Blige, it's Valentine's Day. You told me you're a Mary J. Blige fan. Can you give me a verse or two from your favorite Mary J. Blige song talking about love? I'm going to put you on the spot.
Oh, I was just listening to her song, the last one. Don't do me like that, bow tie.
Hey, I tried to do it.
Right. And I can't sing either.
Hey, it's okay. Neither can I.
Let me change to Kim. Promise to love.
Okay. So, toward the end of the show, so glad that you actually made the commit. You were so serious about it, and we're so ever grateful and appreciative of that. For the people that are actually out there watching, whether they're locally here in Baltimore or in your neck of the woods, North Carolina, or just across this world of ours, and they want to get in contact with you, how can they do that?
They can get in contact with me by going to my face page, Ursula Martin Miles, or to my business page, Life Coach Miles, or UrsulaMiles.com.
Got you. So, again, thank you so much for joining us. The Valentine's edition of the Rashad Mills Show, courtesy of PowerPurposeRadio.com. Everybody that's tuning in on Facebook, thank you so much. Guys, I appreciate it. And again, you can catch me next Tuesday night, same station, PowerPurposeRadio.com at 8 p.m. And happy Valentine's Day. Go eat some chocolate and have fun with your boo, your bae, your love thing, someone special. Nia Long, if you're watching, I'll inbox you my number. All right, Facebook Live, Felicia, I love your energy. She said Prince. Felicia, yeah. Prince. Real love, yes. She said she loved Kendra. I think that's Mary J. Blige's ex-husband.
Kendra?
Yeah, is that? Let me give Felicia.